Hi everyone, welcome to the channel today. So today I've got Jamie in the chair. You may have known a video from a few weeks ago with Jessica. It's Jessica's sister. So we get a chance to create two beautiful results. I'm really looking forward to it. I know today we're going to go through and create a fringe, but I don't know what kind of fringe, what kind of details we're going to work. So we're going to chat about that in the consultation, but let's jump into the consultation and see what we're going to do. Jamie, how are you doing today?
I'm great, how are you?
Excellent, yeah, really good, thank you. Thanks for coming into the channel. Thanks for coming and being a model for me. Okay, so let's talk about your hair. What do you want to do today? What's the idea?
I'm wanting to add more volume and texture through the top portion of my hair here.
So you're looking more sort of width on the side or maybe height from the crown?
Probably both.
Yeah, so a bit literally
volume
like
throughout,
the whole shape, like getting this whole area sort of lifted and having that all sort of bigger coming around there as well.
Correct.
Perfect, I love that.
And then, yes, I do want to do a fringe.
Nice.
I want it to be pretty...
You can call it a bang if you want to call it a bang.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
When we've chatted, I've always called it a fringe. Again, being from England, I always call it a fringe, but I know here in the States we call it a bang.
Yeah,
so
more
it's
commonly
that
called
little translation there, but yeah, whatever you want to call it is good.
Okay, great. Yeah. No, I want it to be pretty wispy.
Yep.
I don't want them to be too short, here in the front at least.
Yeah.
So yeah, just a wispy fringe.
Nice.
Yeah.
And do you brush your hair back? Do you wear it off the face? Do you flip it left or right? You tend to always wear your parts in the structure.
I always part it in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then as far as brushing it away, I don't know. I kind of just let my hair do what it does.
Yeah. So you're not a touch. You don't touch the hair a lot through here. You touch it sort of here, but less here.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Perfect. Excellent. So I asked that question because I always want to know what you do with your hair. Where you're wearing a structural parting, where you don't sort of play around with it a lot, we can play around with the fringe a little bit more. Okay. If you was going to be flipping your hair left and right all the time, then we'd want to change the fringe in its direction so it can be versatile enough. But here we can have a structure.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I like my hair parted in the middle.
So looking at the fringe, because obviously it's a big change. We've not had a fringe in a long time, or in a while. So I don't want to go for something that's going to be too heavy. So if you want to put that down and have that come across with the width of the forehead, I think that's going to be too much.
Yep.
So something wispier and softer, as you mentioned, I think it's going to be perfect. I do, just by opening the fringe up, I want to start to expose the cheekbone area here. So by taking this that little bit shorter, especially a bit further back, so the fringe can be a bit wider, we can start to expose that face, that shape around the face here.
Perfect.
Does that feel good? You like that?
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. Yep. Some people don't, they want hair to be on the face, but they want a fringe. And where we cut it away, we're going to start to expose and put more light to it. I think you've got a great bone structure here, so I think exposing that would be really good. It would just mean that when we work with the fringe will sit across more, rather than going from short to long.
Okay.
Because it just, again, opening up the area. That makes sense. Does that feel good?
Yeah.
Nice, I love it. And then lengthwise, we haven't spoken about the length yet. So I actually really like your length. Looking at the proportions from the head for the neck and the shoulders and stuff, I think keeping that length's really important. I would probably take just about an inch off. Okay. Do you want to go any shorter, or does that feel good for the length?
No, just an inch is fine.
An inch is good. So when I'm looking at that, just looking at the ends. So yeah, just an inch to get rid of the dead stuff. So as we just had a consultation, some key things for me to think about is how much lift we can get around the crown with the layers, knowing that the root area sits quite flat, and we want to get height around the center and around the sides as well. I'll be working my layering pattern to complement that, so I'll be working a traveling guide around the back of the head to support that shape. Working into the fringe, again, I want to go through and just make sure that I work that fringe a little bit wider through the side, so it can sit just and kick back, again exposing that shape around the face. But nothing's going to be sort of too long and too sort of curtain sort of shape. I want it to be more structured, but with a much softer perimeter to it, and you'll see how I do that when I go through to cut. So let's get ready to shampoo. How's that water?
It's great.
Nice. So what else are you doing today? Any other plans?
Not really, no.
No. Not going out tonight. Now you got a new hairstyle. Got to show your fringe off. You're like, no, I'm just going to hide it in the house. I wonder why they did request to, the shampoo being done. I'm always like, why do they want to watch a hair with shampoo? Okay, so we've got Jamie's natural parting in. We're going to go through now and just work the same shape. Knowing that we're just going to take about 1 inch off the length, I'm actually going to start cutting with the layers. I want to focus on the area that Jamie wanted to focus on, as one of her issues. Because, when we're doing hair, most clients come to us for a reason. Their hair's too flat, it's too long, it's too this, it's too that. So we're here pretty much a lot of time to solve these problems. So what we're going to do, think about what we need to do, think about the direction we're going to cut the hair, what angles we're going to give it, height, elevation, all that kind of stuff will actually help us to solve these problems. So one of the major things that Jamie said to me was, she wants height around the crown and she wants height around the sides as well. By looking at Jamie's head shape, you can see that we don't have a lot of width across the top. It sort of curves down quite quick. So making this area shorter is going to be a really good thing to do to give a bit more height and a bit more lift to it. So I want to make sure that actually want to take this a bit shorter, but in the same breath, we need to make sure we keep the length of the perimeter as well. If we don't, we're going to find that the shape's going to come round, it's going to sit into the neck and give you one of those shapes, which I'm sure you don't want. That's it. No, she's smiling because she's like, yeah, I don't want that. We want to make sure that we get that nice height to it. So keeping the angle a little bit more acute, a bit tighter, will actually be more beneficial for the result. Keep the perimeter thicker and the layers around the crown and the top a bit shorter. So I'm going to start off, and you brush the hair back a little bit, or does the parting always go past the curve? Will you brush back from here?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, just get a little bit more height to it, perfect. Just because, see the curve across the top, if we can brush back from there, that's going to give us that natural height, which will be good. So just by understanding that, where the hair's curving away from the back, I'm going to work my parting from that top area. This will allow me to actually have all of this hair at the back, giving me more lift and width and volume. So just by changing a slight area on the head where we comb it or brush it from will give us so much help, which is really nice. If we take it from the crown and the hair comes to the side, I've got to lift up past the structure of the head and then give more height from a flatter area, which would be harder for me. So just allowing my client to know those little details is really key, because that allows me to work a simpler haircut. So we're going to take a little profile section through the center. I'm going to work quite a classic technique, really. We don't always have to put disconnections and partings and map haircuts out in a certain way. Sometimes the simplest, most classic results tend to be the most efficient when we're working behind the chair. So to know that, what I want to go through to do is really just work a profile section through the center, and I'm just going to work around the head with a traveling guide, following that same shape, working from shorter around the top to longer towards the outside. That will give you maximum weight on the perimeter, maximum weight reduction or length reduction around the crown, and a beautiful result. So, going to grab the scissors. I'm actually going to spin Jamie around so you can see this angle a little bit better. Elevating up nice and clean from the roots, all up nice and high. I'm not coming straight up because I don't want to start to maintain any bumps. I'm just going to come out naturally from the head. It will maintain a softer result, so that slight over direction, that slight degree of change will give me a really nice result. I'm going to work up, I'm going to find my guide to length. I'm going to drop that down, let that sit just below the neckline, because I don't want it to sit into the neckline, so just below the neckline would be important. So a little bit longer. Angle up nice and high, and then I'm going to point cut just from the outside edge back to my guide. So just understanding this angle where we're working from the length around the crown towards the perimeter, elevating up nice and high, fingers together, nice and clean, nice and controlled, all the way through, is a real solid result and a solid technique to work through. I'm going to spin Jamie around so you can see. Let me come all the way around, it'd be easier. There we go, let's do this. So from here, you give that little shake, you can start to see those layers that are working all the way from the crown down to the perimeter. I honestly feel when I look at this in the mirror, just with the shape, because I'm now going to sort of see how that sits, that's looking pretty good. If I go any shorter, I run the risk of that sitting into the nape too much, so I actually really like that length, which is nice and solid. So we're going to use this as a guide, continue on through. We're going to work by subdividing this in half and traveling around to the side. One thing I am going to do though, very importantly, is when I come round to the side, now we're working on such length, the hairline on the side is going to rise up. So this last section, I'm going to overdirect it back just to its previous or one before, depending on how it feels, just to maintain some structure and some strength towards that front area so it doesn't create a hole or get too weak. Here we go, spin you back round. So Jamie, why did you travel so much?
I don't know, I just desired to, I guess.
Oh, okay. So it's just something that you chose to do, you was like, I just
Yeah.
want to travel and yeah, nice. So it wasn't for work or any kind of reason?
No.
Oh, nice. I have been to many places, I think 36 countries around the world in total, but I've seen them all from the taxi window. So I've never actually spent time, relaxed, seen the sights, seen places. So the life of a hairdresser on the road sounds glamorous, but it's not, because you don't get to see places that well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like flying through a country but not leaving the airport.
That's it, yeah. Have the kids flown much yet?
We've taken my older daughter to South Africa.
Oh, nice.
Twice.
So she's done long flights as well then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, not too many far trips. We recently went to Florida, but with the two of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, when the baby was just 2 weeks old, I was like, what am I thinking?
You done a flight when the second one was 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Wow.
But it ended up being fine. It worked out well.
She had a two-year-old and a 2 week? Mm-hmm. Oh, she just got back then?
Yeah, we went at the beginning of January.
Nice. We done with my kids for their first birthdays over in the UK. Mm-hmm. And we went over there with a smasher cake thing. Have you ever seen the smasher cake?
Yeah.
And I just get it and just crush it off. So that's so much fun. So we was in my sister's house with my son, Truman, and she put plastic all around the kitchen. It looked like a scene from from a Netflix series. It was like, whoa. But it had happy birthday in it. It was a bit like, this feels a bit scary. So how much time do you spend on your hair in the mornings?
I style it with heat probably twice a week.
Yeah.
And it holds really well for the most part, so
Nice.
I don't really have to, I just kind of brush it out.
Yeah, and you just reinforce
Like
the
put
curls and
some
styles.
oil on the ends,
Nice.
or dry shampoo if needed, but that's about it, yeah.
So the back's been done. I'm now just working through to the front. I'm going to work that, continuing that guide all the way through to the front, taking sections, directing now back to behind the radial parting I placed in. And once I've done that, I am going to go through and just lighten the crown area, as you see me do in a couple of the other videos, where I just go through that crown and just take that shorter, just for a little bit more of a bump, a little bit more of a lift in the area, because that's going to be really important for us to go through. I do want to maintain maximum length now around the front area. So before, where I was over-directing just slightly out to the natural curve of the head, I'm now going to be coming straight back. And I'm going to be over-directing just past the back of the head as well, as I want to maintain as much length through the front as possible. I want to work that point cut just that little bit deeper, a little bit softer. So again, that then becomes a little bit shorter to longer with the areas. But it will maintain more strength around that front, so it doesn't become too weak or anything. Yeah, it was Charleston was, it's my daughter when she was, 2, I think, 2 or 3, she'd been to London like 4 times. Mm-hmm. We took her a few times in her first few years. So she went over quite a bit. But then when Truman was born, it was just before COVID, so he was sort of one of the COVID babies, as we call it, where
Yeah.
he didn't get a chance to travel much. So he's only been over once or twice. Which Chelsea's like, yeah, I've been over there loads. And now she's 9, she's like, yeah, I go over all the time.
That's funny because I actually did most of my traveling during COVID.
Oh, you did?
The beginning stage of it, yeah.
Ah.
Because my office was like, you know, only seeing like ER patients, and so I was getting bored. I'm like, well, I'm gonna travel some.
So area through the top, as you see me speak about before, I'm going to take this one a little bit further forward, just because of the way the shape of the head curves. I want to get as much lift sort of through this area. So I'm actually going to give myself a little bit of a square shape through the front, and then I'm going to work that triangle back. But I'm not going to go too low. That's the key here, is I'm going to keep this one more on top of the head. So the idea being that what I'm creating is just an internal layer from the top, but it's going to give me just a little bit more of a squareness on the overall shape to contradict what's happening with the skull. So just playing around with those kind of ideas. But again, I don't want to go too low through the back because I've already got a lot of layers in there looking beautiful. So this is just to lighten the area around the top. Just lightening that top. So as I go through, this is just going to make this even softer and give me maximum chance for success for maximum height and lift. So I'm now just going to break out the fringe. So what I'm doing is from the natural pattern that we're working towards, I went through just really looking at where the hair wants to grow from. So as the fringe will fall forward, I'm just letting it sit nice and natural in that curve around the head shape. When I comb the hair to the side, I can see it wants to fall nice and flat, which is going to be really good. Just choosing my width. Remember, I don't want to go too wide with it. I still want to maintain some length around the face. We do have a recession area through here. Let's make sure I'm covering over the recession area and I'm not taking that into the fringe because that will make it look too wide. So really being cautious to making sure all of that is in play. Do that on both sides. And something that's just a little bit thicker. There we go. That's looking good for me there. And then again on this one, same thing. I just want to make sure it's just a little bit thicker on that recession. So that then becomes my fringe. So these areas here will be the fringe. I'm not working to a point, I want to work to the width, so it promotes the hair to be a bit wider as well. Gravity's going to want to pull that around to the side, allowing that fringe to sit a little bit heavier onto the side and be squarer, rather than coming down to a point and it will be being pushed forward. But before I get to the fringe, I'm going to go through and work the other parts of the haircut all on the perimeter. So we're going to clip this one out of the way. I'm going to comb down. Now, very important here as well, and knowing that Jamie curls her hair a lot and works a lot with actually styling, is I don't want to go through and take this corner away. So I don't want to go through and carve this out to a point that I lose all of this strength and this squareness. So it's the area around the front which for me becomes the most important. So I'm going to comb all of that down, and I'm going to find that just the initial point that I want to work from. So it becomes a little bit more natural. So that's all of my corner. This is the area through the front. Now I'm going to spin around this way, just so you can see this a lot stronger. There we go. I'm going to comb forward. I'm going to work that visual guide. Open my fingers up and just point cut that shape, working up. Just open that face shape up a little bit. Point cutting as I go, just to soften all the way through. Beautiful. We'll repeat the same technique on the other side. But he made it, and he's loving life.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Okay, so layers around the face is done. We're going to go through and work the perimeter, and then we're going to come and tackle the fringe. Okay, Jamie, this is we're doing the fringe now. Any second thoughts right now?
No.
No? Good.
No.
You ready? You focused? You're feeling good?
Yeah.
That's it. Let's do it. Perfect. So, as we said before, the idea of the fringe, as it comes down, it's going to want to sit across, just sort of sit here, be sort of wispy and soft, but sit with a bit of width to it. So my finger angle is going to choose the shape we're going to work on. And we're going to get shorter with this one. That's sitting good. I'm liking how that's sitting. So we're going to do the same result again. That's a great length. Okay, now we're going to soften. So I put the length in, got the length I wanted, and now I'm going back over, combing into the center, elevating up more vertical. So as that falls down, that's going to really soften that perimeter edge. So it's wispy around the face. I push that back away a little bit more. So that whole idea, that whole shape now is going to be softer through here, come through to the outside. And that comes down. That will sit over the top, open up that cheekbone, and fall down to the side. We'll do the same on the other side. I'll spin you around, James. The question is, I've cut one side. Is she going to look when we go round, or will she not? Will she keep your eyes closed? What do you reckon?
I'm going to look.
You're going to look. She's going to look. She knows she's going to look. I love it. Perfect.
Oh yeah.
How's that feel? It feels good?
Yep.
Nice. So again, that's, as we dry that, we're going to dry that forward and into that shape. And then that's going to sit soft into there. And I'm probably going to cut into it a little bit more once it's dry, just to sort of see the shape. And we may put a bit more detail in the face depending on what it's like.
Okay.
But we've got the shape around there. Feels good?
Yeah.
Happy with it so far? Mm-hmm. Perfect. Let's do the other side. So as you can see, I'm being very cautious on the weight of how it's going to go on both sides of the face. I'm not just going to go straight into it. I'm going to cut it a little bit shorter, and then, cut it a little bit longer, and then go shorter and shorter, just so we can get the right length. I'm letting the hair sort of dictate how it falls in my hand as well. A bit more. That's the one I'm after. Same again, once we've got the length, comb up to the center. This will soften the middle, but keep the weight on the outside. So again, soften that middle so that can fall to the outside. There we go. And then we dry those, have a little look at the shape once it's dry, and then connect, detowel, and do anything you need to do to finish them up. Okay, Jamie, cuts in there. What do we think so far?
Yep. Looking good. I'm excited to have it styled and
That's
see.
it. You want to see the finish?
Yes.
Perfect. So we're going to go through and dry now. We're going to go through and work a blow dry lotion, just a nice soft one, just to give a little bit of lift around the crown. Again, as we've gone through to complement the cut, and then to work with the fringe. And then we're going to go through and put just a soft blow dry through. We're not going to go through mechanically working the heat styling at the moment. I want to just work with the blow dry because if I want to cut into more areas, I want to do that without actually changing the structure too much. So let's go ahead and blow dry. As always, a nice low speed, a nice medium heat. Just going to work the rough dry first of all, get some lift into the roots, get some movement to it, and then we'll go through, just start working the brush and just start the finish. Blow dry is complete. We're going to go through and just check the fringe. I want to go and make it just a little bit wispier on the sides. So I just want to cut into it a little bit. We're both loving the shape, loving what it's doing around the face, just the extra bits of details it's given us. So we're really happy with how it's looking. We just want to make it a little bit softer. So let's go through and take a little bit of the weight out. So I'm going to separate. And just cut into that, just so those ends are a little bit softer. Do the same again. And where I've separated the section on top, I'm going to go through and do the same thing to the section above. That again is going to allow me to be even softer on this area, so it doesn't sit with too much weight going over the top. So just really sort of playing around with the fringe in its movements, so it can sit with a bit more versatility as that falls to the side. How does that feel? Mm-hmm. It feels better?
Yeah, much better.
Just a little bit softer.
Yep.
Perfect, let's do the same on this side. Sometimes it's not how much you're cutting off, what you're doing with it, it's more about the details that you're adding in. And sometimes just 2 or 3 cuts of the scissors is more than enough just to change the shape. Just head back for me slightly. So just look back at the sky a bit more. Perfect. Just trying to get a bit of lift in there. Yes, the fringe looks good. I think it's just subtle enough that it's not taking too much away.
Yeah.
So, Jamie, get your hands in, put your hands through it, flick it around, do the thing that you do to it, style it how you like to style it.
Trying to think if I put my hair up.
Yeah.
I think we might want some
Yeah,
to guide.
a bit more. I think these ones here, I think we should just
Especially
soften
this
these
side.
bits. Yeah, just to give you a bit more around the face here.
Yeah.
Yeah, lovely, let's do it.
Especially because with my job, I do have to wear my hair up.
Oh yeah, nice. And I didn't know there was a thing with English and bad teeth until I came to America. Seriously.
It's a real thing.
I honestly didn't know the stereotype till I came to America. And everyone was like, oh, you're English, you've got good teeth. Yeah, but someone said to me once, like, oh, you're English, you've got good teeth. That's really weird. I was like, why is that weird? It's like,
1%.
Yeah.
You're not yellow.
Yeah, you got lucky.
That's it. It was really weird, and I just didn't understand what people were saying. And then it happened a few times, And then I was like, oh yeah, it's not a thing.
Yeah.
Because again, I don't think I have bad teeth, so I was like, oh, well, it's not me. So it must be everyone else. So yeah, I didn't know it till I came to the States. There was another thing as well. I didn't know Clayton was a first name. So my name's Mark Clayton.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone was like, and then someone told me, you should never trust a man with 2 first names. And I was like, and I didn't get it. And then I realised that obviously Clayton is a first name over here as well, yeah. But you can all trust me, everyone. Just so
Yeah.
Right, let's see how this sits. Take that a little bit short to that side. That side feels good though. And then just a bit shorter on there. Nice.
I don't know why I like
Yeah.
this side more than I do like this side.
You like this side?
I like this side better for some
Yeah.
reason. I'm not sure what it is, so help me out.
If your growth is wanting to push the fringe in there.
Yeah,
So it's just going to be maybe a little bit more sort of training.
Okay.
Let me take that corner away. That feels better. That feels better. Just that
I
little
think
corner.
so, yeah.
So as you can see, finished result on Jamie's hair. I think we got a great result on her. I think it's just going to work perfectly for the style. So as you can see, we went through first of all, went through the layers at the back and just put some height around that crown, a little bit of movement in that area, nice and soft, just a little bit sort of jump, but focusing on that area just in front of the curve of the head and really focusing on getting that width around the back. We went through, we're at the perimeter, get that nice and strong, but then focus on that fringe area. So as you can see, the fringe, it just falls forward. We want something that's going to be very natural, so very soft, not something that's too prominent, but just falls in there and most importantly, opens up the face shape along the side. So something wasn't going to be, crazy full fringe, just soft, subtle, and effective to it. So I think as you can start to see, just that beautiful result, when we brush it back, when we move the fringe around, when we get that detail, it just sits beautiful around the face, giving you lots of detail. I hope you like Jamie's hair today, the techniques, the ideas, the tips and the tricks all with it. It's been a pleasure to cut her hair today. Remember, please do all the good stuff, the like, the subscribe, comment, let me know what you're thinking. If you want to see anything on the channel, please let me know and we'll be happy to try and make it happen. Take care everyone, stay safe, and I look forward to seeing you on another video.